how's it going? Every October, there's a thing called Hooptober. It's a list set up by some guy on Letterboxd where he basically says you have to watch 31 horror movies, preferably over the course of 31 days. Some people skip a couple of days, some people just binge a couple in a day, depends on how it goes. And you have a list of rules. Each year is different in terms of rules, but one is always consistent, that you always have to have a Tobe Hooper film because it's named after him, Hooptober, Tobe Hooper. The rules, which I'll tell you, I'm not going to detail which of these films are part of those rules, but I'll just tell you what films I watched, and yeah, the link will be on my letterbox will be linked down below, which will have Hooptober 12 as the list. Each one of those you have to write a review for, so annoyingly I got a friend to start doing it, and they did not write any reviews, because they don't write reviews on Letterboxd, so they're not even doing Hooptober properly. Anyway, you are meant to write reviews on Letterboxd for each film. You can do multiple categories in one. For example, you have to have 6 countries other than Italy or the US, 9 decades, 5 zombie films, 3 cult or conspiracy horror films, 1 film from a black director with a black lead. I assume they meant African American, because that's usually what they say with black, and it's probably a, American person who wrote the list. 1 film from a Mexican or Central American director, 1 Canadian film, 1 former Soviet state film from either Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Estonia, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Latvia, Lithuania, Moldova, Russia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Ukraine, or Uzbekistan. Damn it, I almost was on a roll there. The most popular film from the 1940s that you haven't seen and can access. I chose a film from 1940. Some people I know just watch the film from the 40s in general. 2 post-apocalyptic films, 1 film with dreams or a dream as part of the plot, 1 animals are pissed at us film, an eco-horror basically, 1 silent film, 4 based on novel films. Any film from this list that you haven't seen, and it's basically the guy who made it, gave you 100 films that are his 100 favorite films, horror films. The guy's called Cinemonster. It's my favorite horror films, or how I stopped fearing the boogeyman and embraced him, updated as of the 5th of the 4th, 25. So that was either April or May of this year. There is a lot of films on this list. I'm not going to bother to read them all out, because there's just a lot. Anyway, 1 Ernesto Gastaldi written film, 1 film from 1932, and then I have never made a specific film as part of this before, but Wizard of Oz, which you wouldn't consider a horror film, but watching it in a horror lens, really interesting. And of course, there must always be a Tobe Hooper film. And for those who want to do extra work, watch Burn Witch Burn, German Chainsaw Massacre, or Trick or Treat from 1986. So I watched my 31 films. Can I do that? I can. I'm just going to read them in order, tell you all the films. Some of them have different, multiple things in them. Like the first one was Nightmare City, which is a film of dreams or dream as part of a plot. It's for one of the decade films from the 80s, and it's a zombie film, number 1 of 5. Obviously, it's an Italian film, so I can't say it's part of the countries as well. So we have Nightmare City from 1980. I gave it 3 stars. We have The Ghost Breakers from 1940. I gave that 3.5 stars. Tombs of the Blind Dead from 1972, gave that 3 stars. V from 1967, that was the Soviet Union one, I gave that 4 stars. Attack of the Blind Dead from 1973, I gave that 3.5 stars. The Ghost Galleon from 1974. The Ghost Galleon, the next one, Night of the Seagulls, I both gave them 2.5 stars. As well as Attack of the Blind Dead, Tombs of the Blind Dead, are all part of the Blind Dead series. They're all zombie films. It's convenient. My mate had lent me his Blue Underground DVDs. All of these I've watched through physical media, except for a couple. Like Nightmare City was Arrow Video, Ghost Breakers was the Kino Blu-ray. V was initially on YouTube, but then I realized it's actually part of my Severin All the Haunts Be Ours box set, so I watched it on that. Attack the Blind Dead, Ghost Galleon, Night of the Seagulls were all part of the Blue Underground DVD. Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice, part of the Arrow Video box set. 5 from 1951, part of the Imprint line. When Worlds Collide from 1951, part of the Imprint line as well. Both of those were the apocalyptic ones, even though When Worlds Collide isn't really it's not post-apocalyptic, but it becomes. It's like pre, during, and post-apocalyptic. All in one film. The Haunted Castle, this is the Kino Blu-ray, The Haunted Castle from 1921. I believe that was a silent film. It was meant to be, Yeah, it's from Germany, silent film based on a novel. You know, you can just write them all down, fuck, do it. I would not suggest this as a horror film. There's one horror scene in it, and it's a dream sequence, and that's it. You could put it as a film that has a dream sequence in it, go for it. But I would not recommend it as a horror film for Hooptober. Another friend of mine did it for Hooptober a couple of years ago. They even said it's not a scary film, it's a murder mystery. And the murder doesn't happen during the film, it happened prior to it. They literally have to just expository dialogue it. And it's a silent film, so there's a lot of that. Not great. I gave that 2.5 stars. I gave 5 and When Worlds Collide, both 3 stars each. I watched The Addams Family, gave that 5 stars, watched the UHD. I just felt like it. Sometimes I just chuck a random film on for Hooptober. Sometimes I plan them out in advance. If I fit all the criteria, then I have leeway as to what else I can watch. I watched Addams Family Values, gave that 5 stars as well, watched the 4K UHD. Some of these were rewatches. Most of them were not. I've obviously seen The Addams Family and Values before. The Dark Half from 1993, the Romero film, I gave that 3.5 stars. I watched the Eureka Blu-ray. The Wizard of Oz, watched the 4K UHD, gave it 5 stars. 1939 movie, Martin from 1977, another Romero. We watched it at Cinemaniacs. I just figured, fuck it, it's horror, I'm chucking it on the list. Good film. I was very tired watching it, so I didn't love it as much this time, but I still kept the same rating because it's a very interesting vampire film. But I do have the second sight 4K. Vampire, the 1932 film, which isn't actually a silent film, but it is a film from 1932. There you go. Very good vampire film. Highly recommended. It's not great for the first half, but the second half is fantastic. Razorback from 1984, the Animals Are Pissed at Us movie. I watched this courtesy of the Umbrella Blu-ray, which is a 4K restoration. It is not... how did I do that before? I clicked on my vampire review, and it actually gave me the review, but I click on Razorback. Oh, no, it does give me the review. Again, based on a novel from Australia, Animals Are Pissed at Us. I would love to get the UHD. I think it's region locked, but like the Australian version, but I still want to get it because I'm in Australia, obviously. Has a great panel discussion by the Cinemaniacs board. I highly recommend it. Bug from 1975. Watched the Screen Factory edition. Gave that 4 stars as well. I gave Razorback 4 stars. Coma from 1978. This is part of the... Again, why is it not showing me... Cult or conspiracy film, there you go. That was part of the Shout Factory line, gave that 4.5 stars. Really fucking solid conspiracy thriller, done by Michael Crichton. The Strange Ward of Miss Vice, The Strange Vice of Miss Ward from 1971. This is a Sergio Martino film written by Ernesto Gastaldi. Excellent. It does everything I've always wanted to see in a giallo, where it kills off the killer halfway in, and then the rest of it is just a complete mindfuck. It's wonderful. The lead actress in it, who I always forget the name of, but she's fucking stunning. Edwidge Fenech, incredible. One of the posters is just her tits out. That's how you know it's a good film. Kronos from 1992. This is the Central American director or Mexican director. It's not showing me. It's a Guillermo del Toro. It doesn't matter. Gave it 3.5 stars. Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers from 1995. I gave it 2.5 stars. I watched the unrated producer's cut. I was also just doing a video on 3 Halloween films, so I just figured fucking add it into the list. I had to rush this a bit because I was going to Japan. I did want to have to come back from Japan and watch more horror films, even though I'm going to because it's Halloween. Anyway, Halloween 2 from Rob Zombie. I watched the director's cut. I gave that 3.5 stars. I do enjoy that film more and more, but man, it's brutal. It's really brutal. Halloween Kills from 2021. I watched the 4K UHD, the alternate cut. I gave it 2.5 stars. Still don't love that film. I highly recommend checking out my video where I talk about these 3 films as alternate cuts to the original theatrical versions. Yeah. The First Purge from 2018. This one is directed by a black director and starring a black lead. Really solid Purge film. Maybe my favourite so far. I don't mind the Purge films. They're really fun. The first one's dull, but the second one's great, and I haven't seen the third one. I went straight to the First Purge, which is the 4th film. Beyond the Black Rainbow from 2010. I gave it 3 stars. Didn't love it. Visually great, sound design great, boring ass fucking story. It gets really interesting narratively in the last 15 minutes, but the rest of it is painfully slow, and this is a almost 2 hour long movie. It's, again, I can see why people like it, but I can see why people hate it at the same time, because it's boring as shit, but visually nice. You know, it's like watching 2001: A Space Odyssey, except, I don't know, I like that film more. Toolbox Murders from 2004. This is the Tobe Hooper film. It was on the Criterion Channel, which is great. Beyond the Black Rainbow I have on Blu-ray. First Purge I have on Blu-ray. Kronos I have on Blu-ray, the Criterion. Strange Vice of Miss Ward. I always read that wrong. I have on Blu-ray. From Severin, actually. A Bay of Blood, which I have the Kino Blu-ray. I know Arrow is meant to be doing a UHD soon, which I'm excited for. I gave that 3.5 stars. And the last two were also from Arrow. You got Yokai Monsters, 100 Monsters, and Yokai Monsters, Spook Warfare, both from 1968. I gave 3.5 stars to 100 Monsters and 4 stars to Spook Warfare. And that was my list. I do recommend doing Hooptober every year. Basically, the guy creates it usually around the middle of September. I think mostly that aspect is just because no one is really going to do 31 specific in all of October. Because a lot of people who are watching these films, who are doing Letterboxd lists, usually already have films that they want to watch for Hooptober, and I usually endeavour to watch films I have on physical that I've usually never seen before that can fit that criteria. And some of these that I watched that I hadn't seen were really fun. If I wasn't going to Japan and I had more time, and if I had started a few days earlier, I would have added more films and not done like the Halloweens and a couple others. But I was just kind of scratching at the surface, fucking just throwing whatever I can. I just got to make sure I tick off those last couple boxes. So yeah, I wasn't going to do it this year. It was much more rushed, but I've really enjoyed watching the films that I watched. Every year I'm putting in different films to watch, which makes it really interesting and unique. I mean, the first year I did it, which was Hooptober 10, I watched Martyrs. I watched a lot of torture porn films, a lot of films I had and I didn't really want to watch. And I'm forcing myself. I want to watch these. They're part of Hooptober. Let's do it. And it's fun. And you can write long reviews on Letterboxd about it. It's just entertaining. So anyway, that's all. Let me know your thoughts down below if you participate in Hooptober, what your thoughts are. And I'll see you kids next time. Adios. And happy Halloween, even though I won't get this video out before Halloween. So, hope you enjoyed October. Bye.